Fairly frantic day for you then?
Just a quiet night at the office, aye.
How do you talk you through your emotions as you're watching that game?
Listen, I think obviously set the players a task before the game. Everything was about the result today because of the magnitude of the game, the position we were in the league, but also the opportunity it was at the end of it. So we knew with 3 points today we could go above Ross County, who were sitting 8th. That was the focus. Credit to Ross County, they started the game far better than us. Maybe a wee bit of nerves, maybe a bit of anxiety around some players potentially, but we definitely didn't start the game as well as I'd like. And credit to Ross County because they put us under a lot of pressure. They scored a goal, and then we relied on a goalkeeper to make a couple of saves at the start of the game. But then I thought once we did settle down a little bit, the goal for us comes at a real key time. So to go in 1-1 at half time was a massive moment in the game. And then second half I thought we were miles better. A lot more on the front foot, created a lot more chances, missed a few key chances though again. But the reaction from the players then to go behind to get themselves back in front was excellent. Obviously missed a penalty, then to get another reaction to then score again was good. And then the one thing that they've always been questioned about this year, and rightly so because of the points we've dropped at times, was the character. And Ross County threw absolutely everything at us towards the end, and I thought we stood up to it really well, defended the box really well. Didn't really have a save to make at that point because of how well we defended the box. So from that point of view, we've played miles better and lost points. But the character was definitely tested, and the big thing today was the result. So I'm delighted for the players on that front.
What does that say about him that he steps up and takes that penalty?
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think I actually said that a few times this season. Ellie's always at his happiest when he's playing football. He loves nothing more just being on the pitch and enjoying it, and he always that's where he wants to showcase his talent. And I think today you've seen that at times. Today he was heavily involved in all the goals, moments within the game as well. But I think as a collective we can be better. But certainly the result was the most important thing today, and credit to the players for finding a way to win the game.
Were you involved at all in the decision to change the taker between the two penalties?
No, I think that was just a natural thing that happens on the pitch. I think obviously Nicky had scored his last one, which is why he stepped up to take this one. And then naturally he's obviously passed the ball and Ellie wanted it. So if someone shows that desire to take the responsibility in the moments, I think it shows they're confident, it shows they've got the belief in themselves to step up and do it. And especially at such an important time of the game, especially the fact we've just missed a penalty, it does take courage to step up in the moments. So it's credit for Ellie for that, and it was obviously a fantastic penalty. Yeah, it is still very tight, as we've just demonstrated there. It's something that the message I've said to the players for a while, which is how quickly the narrative can change. Now, while you're bottom of the league, it's a difficult place to be, especially for this football club. That's underachievement by a long way. So we knew that. We knew we were dealing with that. We knew we were always improving throughout the period, but the league doesn't lie as well. So when we found ourselves in that position, we had to take that on the chin, and it doesn't change much in terms of it's 3 points. It's not as if we've completed it now at all. There's lots of learnings to take from today, especially second half decision making at times, and how we started the game especially. But now we go into a busy period over the festive period where psychologically it looks a lot different when you're sitting 8th in the table rather than at the very bottom looking up. And I think the players can take a lot of confidence and belief in that. Probably since the Aberdeen game, to be honest, we used that as that turning point. That was the challenge to the players, and I think they've responded in a very good way from that.
What was the issue, Warren?
It's too soon to know really, but just a problem with his foot. I think it's just the way he landed. He felt like he hurt his foot a little bit, whether it's his ankle or his foot, we're just waiting to see. But Warren being Warren, wanted to try and run it off, but I think once we found out we actually had another sub, he was more willing to come off, let's just say.
Is that a good reminder of what you get with experienced and quality players when junior sets up Dwight?
Yeah, definitely. I think the big thing there was just the end product. That was a really good cross, good movement for Dwight, and a really good header. I think we got into, even in the first half, we did get into decent positions, but maybe just the decision making or the end product wasn't quite there. And then there was certainly moments in the second half as well, maybe just a little bit anxious, lashing at things rather than showing that little bit of composure and that clinical nature. But then that kind of gets turned on its head when you look at when Ellie runs through and has the composure to slip it to Josh Campbell, the desire to get up to go and support him, and to slip it to the side. A lot of people maybe would have just went themselves there and he showed the composure to pass it there in that situation, which is great.
You must be able to take a lot from that psychologically, like not just seeing it out, but actually scoring again.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially when you add to all the stoppages in play and the decision makings and not really knowing, when you obviously players especially being on the pitch aren't aware of exactly where the decision's at. Is it going to be a goal? Is it 3-1? Is it still 2-1? So you've got all that to deal with. But the biggest positive for me was 100% the character of the players standing up to the pressure that was coming for Ross County, because they threw absolutely everything at it, and I thought they stood up to it really well, which is really pleasing to see. And I think the players can take confidence and belief from that, and even the supporters in the stand as well. You know, they play such an important part in these games, and I think the atmosphere at the end, you know, when we go and get the goal and how everybody felt at the end of the game there, needs to be remembered, and we need to take that into these games, because they'll play a massive part, as they always do, moving forward.
How big was today's win, David, when you look at the next 2 games that you've got?
It was just big, regardless of what happens with the games we've got coming up. As I said at the very start here, the message was about the opportunity today. I looked at the last sort of 4 games, today being the 4th game, and that would be a 7-point return from where we were and the teams we played in that period. That was a really good return. You know, Celtic were top of the league, City, Aberdeen sitting second at the time. So they're tough games, tough fixtures, and we returned 7 points. But then that was going to be a bit of momentum. That's what we need to use now to kick on to the next 4 games. Also, Aberdeen becomes the most important one because it's the next one. But the next 4 games over the Christmas period are 3 teams that are directly round about us as well. So it is an opportunity for us to really kick on now, and that has to be the mindset and the message to the players moving forward.